Since we were here back in late July, early August of 2017, EPA and its contractor Versar have been collecting additional soil and groundwater data at the former custom cleaner site. This first figure here is a color-coded uh, depiction of PCE concentrations in the subsurface soil. As you can see, the highest concentrations are shown by the oranges, and this location obviously is the location where the former dry cleaning building and slab were located. Of course, those were removed back in 2016, where EPA did a removal action and removed about 980 cubic yards of contaminated soil down to a depth of around 20 feet. But this is what we have left. And so we've put in many soil probes across the site. So that's what we've got there. I want to move over to this next figure. This is basically what we have come to know about the site based on the data we've collected. Important thing to know about a conceptual site model is it will change over time as we collect additional data. This depicts basically the former custom cleaners property, which is this area right here. As you notice here, this is Southern Avenue. This is South Highland Street. What is shown on this figure is the soil contamination that we have identified during the remedial investigation. The soil contamination that is in the source area, the PCE source area, and what this diagram shows is, if you see these arrows pointing up, a lot of these chemicals are called volatile organics because they want to daylight, and so a lot of them will convert into the vapor state, and they want to daylight, which these arrows indicate. They also, because these liquids are dense liquids, they also want to migrate downward. And what this diagram indicates is, as they migrate downward, the likelihood is they're going to hit clay lenses that are located in the subsurface, which may basically cause them to migrate in different directions, as this figure depicts. Also, we've got groundwater data at the site, which does verify that there is PCE contamination at a depth of 130 feet below the surface. What this figure shows is down here with this area is we know we're going to find groundwater contamination. However, we do not know what the size of the groundwater plume is. One of our next goals will be to put deeper wells down to a depth of about 175 feet, which is where the top of the Memphis Sands Aquifer is located. One of the important things to point out is we have been working with the Memphis Light Gas and Water. They have been kind enough to share their data with us. They monitored the production wells at the Sheehan well field. The most recent data we have is from November of 2017, which indicates there is no PCE contamination in any of those production wells, which is good. This next figure shows you, we've got several captions here. One of them shows a kind of a typical soil vapor extraction system. At this point in time, EPA and TDEC have not made any decisions on how we're going to address the soil contamination that I described on the last poster board. However, SVE is considered one of the most likely treatment technologies that we could select for use at the former custom cleaner site. So this system here shows that you've got a small building that would be located on the property. We would have a number of extraction wells that would be installed on site, and as this figure also shows, SVE by its name basically vacuums the vapors of the PCE out of the ground. They're basically piped back to the treatment building. They're treated with carbon. They have to meet levels of treatment, and then it's discharged to the air. This lower figure shows you depicts a in situ thermal treatment with thermal enhancement. Um, Systems like this, basically you put probes in the ground where the subsurface is heated to 100 degrees centigrade, basically to a boiling point of water. And what that does is it takes all the liquid PCE that's in the subsurface, converts it to a vapor, and then vacuums it out of the ground, where again it is treated with a similar system to what I described above. This type system with the thermal treatment's much more expensive than just a straight SVE system, but it also is much quicker, much more effective. I was told by TDEC that locally they used a system like this at the depot site, and I believe in 6 months it basically destroyed all the volatile organic compound contamination. A system like this, run by itself without any thermal enhancements, could take a number of years. But the one other point I would make is that if all goes as planned, we would like to select a system like one of these that I described, and by this summer of 2018, and again, if we get the funding, we could get the soil contamination taken care of hopefully in the next few years. The thermal treatment would be, due to the fact that you could get the soil cleaned up in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
It's all a matter of funding and how much funding is made available.
Yeah.
And I will keep the public posted on that when we'll have a lot more detail on that when we come back in April.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.